That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
Hello and welcome to Content and Capable, a podcast all about following your passions while still feeling like a proper adult. My name's Sam and I'm your host. For Pride Month, I'm doing special episodes, and this week I spoke to Charlie, Raye and Ted all about being queer and neurodivergent. Welcome to Content and Capable, Charlie, Raye and Ted. It's lovely to have you guys on.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Before we get too far started, can we just go introduce ourselves real quick so that people listening can know the difference between each other?
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I mean,
yeah,
it was almost more people, but it's fine.
Well, likely they've heard us before, hopefully. People are listening to the podcast, right?
Hopefully they have. But yeah, let's go around real quick. Let's start with the most recognizable voice, I hope, in the Zoom call. Charlie.
Oh, I'm recognizable? That's wonderful. Hi, I'm Charlie.
You're just a regular on the network.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you're all over the place, Charlie.
I got two pods in the network, Phantom's Gone Wrong, and Of the Eldest Gods, and oh, look, my new co-host is also on this episode.
Hi.
Hi, Raye. Do you want to introduce yourself now?
Absolutely. I am Raye, Raye Raphael Sachet, if you'd like. And I have a podcast that I am
a couple
on.
now.
Two now. I'm the second co-host of The Eldest Gods. I wasn't even sure if I was supposed to bring that up, but I'm apparently
this is coming out after your intro episode.
We're recording way in advance.
So.
And I am also a co-host of a podcast called Barbie Movie Slaps with, coincidentally, the other host, my good friend Ted, passing that on.
Whoa.
Yes, hello. I am Ted or Teddy, and I do Barbie Movie Slap. That's my podcast.
Awesome.
I think the secret here is now that Ted and I need to do a podcast together to complete the circle.
It then becomes one very complex circle. I don't know how to feel about that, but
it's fine.
Yeah.
We are all connected.
And protected.
It's like playing the 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever, but with podcasters.
Yeah.
My God.
Well, it's crazy because I realized, so Christina, and he might be on before you guys, but Christina had Radio Mike on the restricted section, who I realized was a producer for the Hamish and Andy show, which is like the most famous podcast / radio show in the country. Hamish and Andy are the very, very famous people. And so when I was like, shit, Christina got a hold of, Radio Mike. That's like radio royalty, and I'm like, what? I was at a loss for words. And then when I messaged Mike, I was like, I fucking can't believe you're on the restricted section. I kind of consider you to be radio royalty. He goes, I'm not radio royalty. I'm just a normal human being. I'm like, the fuck you are. As someone who works in radio, I'm like, okay, 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but also what?
That's so cool, though.
I'm only theoretically, I'm only 3 degrees away from, two of the most famous people in Australia.
Ooh. The good news about that is that everybody is just some guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Exactly.
It's great knowing that, we're all human beings. And that's what I love about this podcast, because you do sit down and you talk to people and you go, oh, wait, you're just a real normal human being.
I resent that. I am not normal, nor am I a human being.
Well, let's talk about your abnormalities then.
Oh, wow, thanks.
Oh, boy.
For those who are very bad at remembering things, it's June. June is Pride Month.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Sorry. For a second there, I had an identity crisis. I'm like, wait a second. is July Pride Month? Have I organised this in the wrong month?
The
Sam,
thing
Sam,
for us is that our Pride doesn't happen until July, like the local Pride in the park.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I always get really confused.
We have, our university does ours in September,
Oh.
except we have then, so that means we have Mardi Gras in April, Pride Month in June, which is like international, and then like somehow I think Australian Pride is in September, so it's fucking weird.
interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so I suppose we better start with Charlie, because I harassed Charlie at the start.
Oh, thanks.
What do you identify as, and how did you come to identify as that?
let's start with the identify as. How about that? Let's all go around and start with that part, because the rest of it is a lot.
Well, that's gonna
okay.
be a
It's
lot
a discount
all on its
therapy
own.
session.
Like,
Yeah.
Are you guys
It's already like 50 things,
this
like,
gets
just for the
complicated
identity.
immediately?
Yeah.
I'm okay for complicated. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I have not used my brain at all.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I identify as many things at this point, as I just keep accumulating pride flags. I'm bisexual. I'm gender fluid, non-binary. Yeah, things. I'm really bad at explaining.
I'm
them.
like
Oh
like
no, we all are. This is gonna be so painful.
Well, we've got to kind of rip the Band-Aid off so we can get to like the second half of the the episode title. So
yeah. There's all that going on. I will mostly get my they them pronouns at this point, but like I don't really care. I don't know. Yeah, it's a time.
it's interesting because there are some people who just care a lot about like their
Yeah.
pronouns, and there's some people who are like, I don't care what the fuck you call me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm having feelings where it's like, if you don't understand my identity, I want you to use they them all the more, and then like
Yes.
otherwise, I don't give a shit.
Ted's the exact same way. Like, they have said that exact same thing to me.
Teddy, I love you.
Aw, I love you too. Yeah, like, I don't know. You can use feminine pronouns for me as long as you understand I am not a female.
Yes.
Sort of.
Exactly.
I think, yeah, and yeah, as you said, it all depends on how well the person who's calling you that knows you. Like there are friends of mine who are, you know, non-binary, and it is something that like they turn around and go, you know, you can get a like even you know, some of my trans friends who turn around and go, so many people misgender me, and like it's fine, you know, if a friend misgenders me by accident, because I know that they don't mean harm, but I can't tell whether someone I don't know that well is doing it to mean harm or not.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
stressful. It is very stressful. My poor, I just like look at my poor friends and I want to like put them in like a padded, like not room.
padded
that
room?
seems, like, cruel.
Thanks, Sam.
That seems cruel. But like somewhere safe to like
Yeah.
protect them.
It
like,
is
A
a
pillow
whole other
fort.
level of social interaction that you have to pay attention to with strangers or with just acquaintances as opposed to like close friends.
and it,
I always
Go-
think
go.
it's funny when I immediately, in my brain, kind of find someone to have non-binary vibes, and then I have to, like, make sure not to use they, them pronouns for them. like, that's a whole new level of assuming people's gender.
Yeah.
The kind that we get to when we've got, like...
I definitely understand this, where I'm like, this person giving me the they thems, but nope, I don't know. I don't know.
see, I'm of the opinion that you should use they them pronouns until you can either are pretty sure that they're straight and you can make a guess, or if they're looking pretty it's very hard as a straight person to go, okay, they look non-binary, but do they normally use they them pronouns, or are they just looking non-binary and using he him or she her pronouns?
Yeah.
Hey Sam, what does non-binary look like?
I mean, I have an idea, but like...
It's like dressing gender neutrally, like, you know.
Oh boy.
Also, it can look like anything.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But like...
Yeah. It's very perspective. It doesn't mean that, like, you know, to me, there's no one set rule of, you know, you look non-binary. It's, you know, context dependent. It also, you know, is dependent on the local culture and, you know, for example, here in Brisbane, we've got like quite a large punk band scene.
Nice.
And so a lot of the non-binary people I interact with dress quite punky.
Yeah.
I had a former coworker who was like that.
Yeah. And so but then there are also like straight people who dress punky, and so there's
just alternative.
It's so you know, it's all so perspective.
Yeah, and it really depends on the person and how they feel about things. And there's also like people who are queer or who fall outside of regular gender norms, that sort of thing, also tend to gravitate towards counterculture, and so that can be one of those things that like gives off a vibe, but you can't tell until people tell you. And that's the really hard part for someone who is very impatient and always wants answers like straight away. It is very hard for me to sit down and go, I've just got to wait until someone's ready to tell me.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
The answer I was looking for is there is no one look for non-binary. So Sam, you failed, but you're also a cishet white man.
Yeah, this is actually a test to cancel Sam.
It is.
We are watching the language so carefully. We are like...
I knew it. I'm going to get out of here. No.
And also how you present yourself, because I think Raye made a tweet the other day about dressing feminine and you feel like you're putting something on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, right now, I'm literally in like a cute little Lolita dress with very feminine makeup, and I am just cosplaying a girl. Like, it's...
Yeah.
It's like comfortable for me because I feel like I'm putting something on. It is not myself. It's a very made up face. I wear a wig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can do the same thing, except for most of the time I feel like I'm bad at it.
Yeah.
And so like, if I feel like I'm being clocked as being bad at femininity, that makes me really uncomfortable.
So like, if I can't successfully do a gender, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, exactly. Literally.
Why don't we continue with the intros?
Yeah.
So
we are already getting way too far into it.
We are.
Right.
We did this in the Barbie episode too. We were just like, okay,
we didn't actually finish the intros, I don't think.
Did we never even do it?
I apologize for that Barbie
episode
episode.
Before we tried again.
I think it took me like 2 days to edit that Barbie episode.
Oh, goodness.
It was wild.
And it was 2
I enjoyed
episodes.
every second of it because I was like, there were points where I had to pause the audio and go, okay, I just gotta go and take a walk and breathe because this is way too fucking funny.
We were just having fun.
At least that's better than the alternative.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so Ted, you know, how do you identify?
Mostly as non-binary. I definitely identify with the transgenderness of that.
Yes. I forgot to say that, but yes.
Because there's a lot of non-binary people who don't necessarily identify as transgender.
And I would sort of say that I'm in that camp where it's like, I have never like done anything to transition as such, and so it's not really a label that I'm comfortable claiming, but I would say that I am non-binary or genderqueer. Okay, you go back to yours, sorry.
There, we've finished the intros. That's a start.
But mostly a lot of the labels I use are just because they're the most, well-known. That's what everybody uses. And that's for other people's ease of mind. I'm all like, this is a label you're gonna understand.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just like, why does gender matter? I don't really mesh with gender. And I don't know. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Valid.
It's very interesting, and it's also then so context driven as well, where like I'm very aware that a lot of queer people just don't have great relationships with their family, and that the way you act and the way you identify in front of your family is often completely different and makes zero sense compared to the way you identify in front of friends and found family or other people you might be more comfortable with. And it's, I don't know, to me, I find it so fucking fascinating because it's something that I've, as a straight white man dude, and had never had to really deal with. And it's, I don't know, it's a whole level of complex that I think there a lot of society just doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to come back to us a little bit, we are straight. I mean, not straight, goodness. You confused me. I was trying to, do the list. We both come from a white, conservative, Christian family in America, and we're cousins. I don't think we said that yet. Anyways, so neither of us are out to anyone in, the older generation of our family. I think the only person we're technically out to is my little sister.
Yeah. I'm 80% sure my sister knows because I've used the word girlfriend in her presence. But yeah, I remember working at Michael's and a coworker, because I've dated my girlfriend for almost 7 years now. It was more like 5 years then or whatever. But she was like, oh, your mom has to know. And I was like, I don't think you know the things I can hide from my family.
And that's the fascinating thing. I think there is this assumption among parents or even people who, may have relatively open relationships with their parents. I go, there's nothing I can really hide. Nothing I can really hide from my family, They're going to know pretty fast. So it's really
easy.
Yeah, I was about to say, it really is easy. And I was even chatting to a friend of mine who went on a date, and she turned around and goes, and she's straight, and we were just she and I were chatting about the date because she felt bad because it didn't go particularly well, and she goes, oh yeah, my mum doesn't know about this. And I'm like, yep, that's totally fine, whatever, let's keep going. She goes, yeah, someone got mad at me for not telling my mum, but I was like,
what?
Well, people get mad about all kinds of things, let's be honest.
It's
but
your prerogative what you tell people.
Yeah, it is. And especially as an adult as well, it's your life. You have control over the information that you give to people. There are things that, unfortunately, I won't tell my parents. And as much as I love them and as much as I probably have, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell because you got to think about it in hindsight. But from my understanding, I've got a really good relationship with my parents. But there are things that they just don't need to hear. Or they don't need to hear yet as well. There are just some other things that they're just not prepared to hear.
Yeah,
see, I don't
you
shut
have
up.
your own life. Well, you don't owe anyone personal information.
Yeah. And I'm my mother is one of my most favorite people in the whole world, and I'm very close with her. But she doesn't know things.
Yeah.
I'm not out to my family. I don't know. It's an interesting
dynamic.
And then adding the layer of neurodivergency over the top of it all. It's just so much. And because I'm not well practiced on it, it's quite hard. And I find it quite hard to remember everything I'm supposed to remember. Which is not a lot, let's be honest. And then, if I was neurodivergent, I don't know how I'd be able to do everything on top of that.
It's hard. There's a lot of times that I just don't function the way that I want to or the way that I'm expected to. So there's another part of the introductions. I've got diagnosed now ADHD.
Woo, we love a good diagnosis.
We sure do. People always think it's weird when you're like, yes, I got diagnosed with ADHD. And they're like, oh no, I'm so sorry, you have ADHD. And it's like, I always had ADHD. Now I have an explanation for why I'm like this.
Exactly.
Like,
Now
something did not just happen to me. I did not just get ADHD. Getting a diagnosis is a net positive, absolutely.
Oh, especially because it's such a process as well to, like, you know, officially go, yes, you have ADHD. It's like,
Yeah.
well, thank you. I'm at the end of this very long and tedious and often expensive process. Charlie, in terms of neurodivergencies, what...
Well, I also have ADHD, but I was diagnosed when I was like 6.
Right, which is a very different experience from mine.
Yeah. It's a weird thing where like I've for most of my life I've known, but I didn't know what that meant. If you understand, like I was just like, oh, okay, I have attention issues. Sure, whatever. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah.
Just live my life.
And then you start seeing crap online that they're like, hey, this is a symptom of ADHD, and you're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, this it's almost like I've been like re-diagnosed, I don't know if that's necessarily makes sense, but like I'm like now understanding only in the past couple of years I've actually started understanding what it means and how it affects my life. But like I've always known I had ADHD. I used to be medicated as a kid, and then we just went off the meds. I have no story for that because I remember nothing. Also a symptom of ADHD, so like, got nothing for you there.
But yeah, no, as you said, it's a completely different experience being diagnosed early as compared to being diagnosed late. It's just...
And like, my mom... My mom always knew, like, as a kid, she's like, there's something going on with my kid. My kid is like, my kid is something. And like, all of the teachers at school were just like, ADHD isn't real. Your kid can't have ADHD. Like, that was like a thing.
Oh, fuck that.
That she's told me stories about. I also was tested for autism as a child, but I am not autistic, as far as I'm aware. So, but, yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of the time those go almost hand in hand.
Yeah.
But also, autism is really hard to get a diagnosis for.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because they changed the DSM-5.
What really pissed me off, when I was getting my, like, psych eval, I told the psychiatrist... So I have certain symptoms that are characteristic of autism and not characteristic of ADHD. I don't think that I have enough autistic characteristics to actually count as being on the spectrum, but I do have some, like, that just don't quite fit into the ADHD diagnosis. But, so I told the psychiatrist, hey, does this check for that also? Like, will you know if I... count as autistic, basically. And she said, well, yes, but your parents would have noticed, so...
God.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, if you were autistic, somebody would have been able to tell. And it's like, maybe my parents are also neurodivergent and never got it checked.
Masking, actually.
Okay. Speaking of, I also think, like, I think my mom was just like, yeah, I definitely have ADHD, but, like, I don't need to do anything about that. I'm, like, an adult over 50, like, Yeah, if you're already used to it, then, like, whatever, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, it's hereditary, so it makes sense. Like...
No, there are days where I feel like I have ADHD because I become so scatterbrained. And then my mum was talking to me earlier this year about it. And I was talking about how I feel like I never get a chance to, like, sit down and settle, other than this past week when I've had COVID and I've been forced to sit down and do nothing, which is great.
Oh no!
And Mum goes, it's because you're doing too much.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah, Sam.
And she sends me.
You just do everything.
Yeah, I do everything. A, because I can't say no, and B, because I don't know, I like to keep busy. If I get bored, I get real, like, depression comes on very quickly.
Oh.
But part of what Mum, said to me was, check out this podcast from Renee Brown about task switching and everything, and everything else. And it was just, it's very fascinating because it really makes sense, because there is an element to, and we see this in a popular culture all the time, where we've got a lot of representation of people with ADHD, and people go, wait, do I have ADHD? And it's like, the reason why the testing's so rigorous is because, if you were able to self-diagnose, I think I would have self-diagnosed as having ADHD before even considering that there are external factors that are affecting my ability to
probably.
executive function. Not to say that, not to lessen,
No, yeah. Like, I would say anyone who goes without sleep for a day or two, like, probably knows what it's like to have ADHD symptoms. It's a really similar kind of thing where you're like, I can't focus on anything and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. But, yeah, and then, we put all the ingredients in the pot. Let's stir. Ted, actually, before we do that, I don't think we chatted about. You neurodivergent? Sorry, that word came out of my mouth weird.
Of course.
Why do you think they're here?
I am undiagnosed, probably autism. Which is
awesome.
an interesting situation to be in, because nobody in my immediate family would believe I have autism, but my roommates definitely would.
Oh, yes.
And, like, looking at it and not having a diagnosis, and I'm sure still having a diagnosis, you kind of gaslight yourself.
Oh, yes,
and
absolutely.
You're like, no, I'm pretty sure this is me. And then you're like, no, you just have anxiety, you just handle things weird. And then you, like, are walking like a penguin and making little auditory sounds, and you're like, why am I a freak? And it's probably the autism.
It's probably the autism.
Yeah. And at this point, it's really hard to get an autism diagnosis, especially as an AFAB person. And a lot of the times, an autism diagnosis can do more harm than good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially in our culture.
Yeah, so, I'll probably never be diagnosed, and so that's super fun.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
love that. It's so hard because having a diagnosis legitimizes the feelings that you do have. It's like, putting a label on, your sexual preference or your gender and going, I am, I am this. It's very affirming, and I suppose we might jump on gender euphoria in a second, but like at the same time, it's so hard to get to that place because there are so many checks and balances that need to be done before you can just go, yep, I'm autistic. Yes, I've got ADHD. Yes, I've got... Even depression is like a harder thing to access nowadays.
Yeah,
because, they want to make sure that it is legitimately depression as compared to, something else. As someone who's been on depression meds. It's very weird.
Right, because I have tried depression meds before and they did absolutely nothing for me. Not like I was on a whole series of different things for a couple of weeks. Like I'd try one thing and then would be like, well, a lot of side effects, no benefit. Here's another one. And I eventually just quit completely because I was like, I still feel like I was feeling worse all the time. And it's like, so now I'm on like actual Adderall for having ADHD, and it's like, oh, I can do things. Incredible. Like,
executive function is back.
Whoa, what's that?
But it's very fascinating. Like, explaining to people what it was like being on depression meds and turning around and going, yeah, so, while, I was on depression meds, I just didn't, everything kind of evened out. The lows weren't as low, the highs weren't as high.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, I actually wanted the highs to be as high as they were because I loved that high. And I remember, because I was on antidepressants for my graduation, because that's where things kind of started spiraling out of control around that point of time. And they're spiraling out of control around this point in time, right before I graduate university. Whoop-de-doo. I just remember going, I did the year 12 graduations for 6 years. It was my 6th year of attending the year 12 graduation. I played trombone, I was performing in it, and I was like, this does not feel as amazing as I thought it would feel. And I think that was the point where I didn't go off the meds until about 4 or 5 months afterwards, I think. But that point was like, oh, I might not want to be on these meds anymore because they're not best fit for who I wanted it to be. And it's the same with, having a label is great, but then also the associated medication, you've got to make sure it's right for you.
Yeah. And sometimes just changing your prescription to something else and then trying a bunch of different stuff, you can find something that has the right balance for you. And then sometimes the right choice is to be like, okay, I like my unmedicated self. I just need to be able to work through things. And sometimes the answer there is therapy or just entering a better state of mind. Or, working on your coping mechanisms on your own and figuring it out.
And I've got anxiety medication, which I think mostly helps, but I've still got a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
But I know starting it was really hard because I think I also probably have depression and a lot of, apathetic feelings. And I was afraid that if I took anxiety medication, I wouldn't feel anything. Because at least anxiety is a feeling. And and now I'm all like, you freaking idiot child, what are you on about? I was in college when I started anxiety medication, but still, it's absolutely it's better to not have those extremes and to be able to regulate your emotions naturally.
Yeah, and everyone's journey is so different as well. The extremes that I were having were different to the extremes that you were probably having, were different to the extremes that anyone's been having. And, if medication is right, then do medication. Obviously have a discussion with, your GP or your doctor and go, and let them know what you're feeling as well. Because for anyone who's listening out here who's like, wait a second, this feels very, very much like what I feel at the moment, that is something that is, really important, is letting people know how you feel and then trying to get the professional advice, because otherwise how are we supposed to, feel better? That's what the doctor's supposed to be there for most of the time.
I get so worried about people sometimes. A coworker of mine was like, well, yeah, I have a lot of the same experiences that you do, and I can't sleep ever, and I think I probably have ADHD. And I'm like, please, for the love of God, go get it checked out. You're on insurance right now. You might not always be. Go right now. Don't put it off. There's every chance that you're gonna feel better, Yeah. And so if the odds are good that something can help you, live a better life than you're living, then, I say go for it, for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. So, then, how some of you were diagnosed with neurodivergencies earlier in life and later in life, how has the wow, I'm going to have real issues pronouncing neurodivergency. Do not know why. I think it's just because I'm Australian.
I was going to say it's the accent. It's definitely the accent.
Yeah. The word just does not work.
Aw.
I should have lived in the posh parts of Australia. Says me, who lives in the most bogan city of the most bogan state of the most bogan country. Anyway, how do you guys think your neurodivergencies affect your experience as a queer person?
Well, the two things are definitely interlinked, like, in some kind of ways. But it's hard to describe because you cannot say that, like, every trans person has a neurodivergency or that every neurodivergent person is eventually going to come out, because that's clearly not what happens.
Yeah.
But there is, like, a statistical link between those two things, like, especially autism, I think. And I think it has a lot to do with how you view yourself in a society and how you think about, like, how you... I was a sociology major, so I think about a lot of things on that kind of macro level where gender as a social construct is something that someone who does not fit into most social constructs, who does not understand how they're used or where they come from, might reject because it just doesn't make any sense for them. And so, like, there's a reason that, like, all of the people who are, like, my best friends are trans, mostly non-binary people, and also neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the place where I'm gonna fit in.
An interesting thing regarding gender and neurodivergency is my sister is probably also neurodivergent. Very similar upbringing. She attributes her, I don't know, symptoms more to, like, CPTSD sort of things, which is very interesting. The symptoms of autism and CPTSD are very similar.
It probably doesn't help that most autistic people are traumatized.
Yeah.
Very much so.
But for me, I'm all like, wow, I don't understand gender. I don't really want to fit into this gender norm, this gender binary. I'm just going to be kind of on the outside because I don't really identify with that. And I respect people who want to trans their gender or do all these other things. And she is all like, gender does not matter at all. Why would you bother transing your gender? Which I understand that as a take. She's all like, because she's so adamant that in her life and in herself, that gender doesn't matter, so just, it's fine, whatever. And I'm like, I get it, but it does matter to some people. And I think, I don't know, I try to understand that a little bit more than she does. But, yeah, because she would never, go out of her way to think about her gender or wanting to change that because it just doesn't matter to her. Which is very interesting. Yeah.
It is so interesting because there are some people who just don't care. They're like, why should we care about gender?
Yeah.
And, it doesn't come out of a place of hate. Often it comes out of a place of complete confusion as to why, there are people who are so wrapped up in it. Yeah. And, not to say that people are misguided to be, intrigued or, want to find out more about gender and, do more exploring on that kind of stuff. But for some people, it just makes zero sense.
Yeah, and your connection with gender is very personal, no matter if you're cis or if you're trans or non-binary or, like my sister, she is cis, but she doesn't understand gender. And I think if she was a little bit younger, she would have kind of been more involved in those spaces that have popped up now.
Or she might not have. I feel like it's very interesting to me that there are people who have a very strong sense of gender and there are people who have a very weak sense of gender or no sense of gender. And, like, those people can be trans or cis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also a point, like, I'm not sure exactly who, what stage of transitioning people are at or whatever. But I have, not experienced, but I have been along for the ride for a friend of mine who's transitioning, and going through hormone therapy, and, you know, was like, there's a point where just gender doesn't matter, you know, that they can't care about it because they almost live like two lives as like, you know, and, you know, then they get beyond this like break, and then they go, okay, well now I identify even more closely with the gender that I'm transitioning towards, rather than the one that I'm transitioning away from.
It is so hard to accept a different gender into yourself when you know other people won't perceive you that way. Like,
Oh yeah.
I normally use they, them, or she, her pronouns. A lot of the time it depends on context more than anything. Like, I'll tell people online that my pronouns are they, them. I would love for people to use he, him pronouns for me. It's not gonna happen. My tits are so fat.
I sprinkle it in there.
Oh, thanks, babe. But yeah, I'm just not someone who typically is going to be perceived as masculine. Like, and I can try to present that way, but it doesn't ever feel like it fits for me. And so it's not something that I put a lot of effort into, because, you know, I would have to buy clothes. I would have to buy binders that actually work, which is hard as hell.
And for you, it's you can't successfully present as that gender.
Yeah, so if I can't successfully present that way, then I'm not gonna try, because that's, like, if I'm failing at masculinity, that's not any better than failing at femininity for me. Like, so...
Also, and I will point this out, it's all a construct.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if you didn't have to worry about how society perceives you, like, it would be so much easier to experiment and stuff. But yeah, that's just how I would relate to that, as like, okay, now I'm like to a point of kind of passing more consistently, and so now it's going to be more serious that I want to be perceived the way that I am presenting myself.
Yeah. It's interesting. Of all things, Zoom has just notified me that the meeting started.
Congratulations!
Oh yeah, we're at the time now, huh?
We're at the time that I half asleep scheduled this. As a reminder,
Dang, we've been
do
here
not
for an
schedule
hour.
a Zoom meeting 5 minutes after waking up while you're still lying in bed.
I love that.
In regards to neurodivergency and affecting like sexuality and gender, I think it was like senior year of high school for me, and I was like, I think I'm asexual. I think, yeah, that sounds good. And I was like, yeah, I'm asexual, aromantic, agender. I just don't have a connection with any of those things.
AAA batteries.
AAA batteries, that was me. And then I was all like, you know, I don't think agender quite fits as well as I want it to. And so I feel like non-binary is a more like open term for what people can consider. And I still kind of identify with asexual and aromantic, but obviously I've been in a relationship for 7 years. And so I think a lot of that is a disconnect as an autistic person, because the disconnect of relationships and like you want somebody to touch you, disgusting. It's a lot of, I do not want to be touched until it is okay, and it's only okay for like 5 minutes when I decide it's okay. Imagine a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that probably shaped a lot of my youth. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Like, and I would say that that's another way that they are intertwined.
And absolutely not. There are autistic people that are asexual, for sure, for reasons that relate to autism and for reasons that don't relate to autism. But there also are sexual people who are autistic. And
right.
there are
I
sex
hate
positive
when
people
people try to say that there was this whole drama online a while ago. I'm not sure if you would still run into it.
Are you talking about you can't headcanon characters as asexual because it sexualizes them?
Or because it infantilizes them. Like, specifically autistic characters, you couldn't say, I think this character's asexual, because that's infantilizing autistic people.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Disgusting.
I have a lot of asexual friends, some of which are autistic, some of which are not.
Yeah. So I would say that when you are a person who is autistic and asexual, those two things probably do interact with each other because they are existing within the same person.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one as well because there are so many factors involved, and then when you're still trying to make a decision and someone asks you a question, you're not ready to give an answer. You're like, shit, I've got to give them an answer so that they stop asking me the question, but I don't have an answer. And it's all
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked a lot. Charlie, how's your gender?
How's
fine, thank
gender
you.
treating you today?
My
How's
gender
that
exists.
neurodivergency interacting with your gender and sexuality?
Oh, it meant that I was bullied. I think that's what it meant.
Yeah.
I was telling Raye this earlier. I'm just like, I have no thoughts on like how they interact for me other than like I'm pretty sure I was bullied for both, so like it's fine.
yeah. But did you? So does that mean that you identified in high school then? Like.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say I wasn't necessarily bullied for like my sexuality and gender, but like like the awkwardness of like me as a person was bullied. So like you understand what I mean. Yeah.
The thing is that kids can tell when you're different. You can tell when you're different from other kids.
But apparently your parents can.
Yeah, literally. No one is better at diagnosing than you with a neurodivergency than the slightly preppy mean girls in choir class.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, I did identify as like bisexual in high school. That's what I started figuring shit out. You watch Frozen one too many times and you're like, why am I so obsessed with Elsa? Like,
Can I bully you? I was gonna say, you look like you identified as bisexual in high school.
Wow.
thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's the mullet.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it is.
I didn't have Okay. In high school, my hair was down to my ass crack. Okay, that's the fun thing.
We also, Ted had long hair longer than I did. I had long hair in like probably like halfway through middle school, and then I was like, I think I'm done with this.
My high school senior photos, I have very long brown hair.
Yeah, we are all chopped now.
Yeah, I didn't.
I know that this is not a visual medium, but
chopped.
Yeah.
I didn't start thinking about like hairstyles and that until I started thinking about gender, and I didn't know non-binary was a thing till college. Because I went to a Catholic high school, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's the
I
other
bet you were
Lord.
bullied in a Catholic high school.
oh no.
I can't even imagine going to a Catholic high school.
Yeah, you know what? The good part is we only had gym freshman year. So at least I got to avoid that for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only had to take gym 1 year, and I did swimming, so I didn't have to sweat.
Good shit. That's how you do it.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
So, my childhood stuff. I got baggage, bro.
Whee! Someone bringing the porter.
Just pile it all on, and then we'll sort through it at a later date.
That's what the airport's for, right?
Yeah.
The airport will sort it out.
Anyways, so, my dad was in the army, and we moved around a lot. And at some point, during some move, that's, I don't know, probably like 3rd grade or something. Like I said, I had no idea I was neurodivergent. I wouldn't even have thought to think about ADHD because the societal perception of it is nothing like what I have. Like,
Yeah, our family is very not pro-diagnosis, not pro...
They're not, like, hyper against it. It's just not something that they think about.
They're
or,
like,
like, something
why
that
would
makes
you
them
do
a little
that?
uncomfortable. Yeah. So, like, it's not something that ever would have been looked into in my case. But at some point during a move, I realized that people found me annoying.
Oh no.
Like, you end up with a bunch of new people, and, like, every time you open your mouth, you get weird looks, and you're like, wait, huh? And I've had anxiety ever since.
I've always known that I was annoying. That's just a part of me that I've always understood. And I was like, okay, well, I guess no one likes me. That's it. Okay.
I was a precocious as hell child.
Yeah.
Like, my mom says that I used big words and it was very cute. And then when your child starts ranting a lot, it gets less cute.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I was the child who took
So-
words very literally, and I just, like, I couldn't
Yep.
understand that, like, wicked, could mean, like, wicked good, showing my Massachusetts, Boston area, wicked. I was just like, oh, that's bad. That means bad, right? You know?
Yeah.
Like the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
Charlie,
Yeah.
that's the autism.
Yeah, that...
I'm not autistic. My mom had me tested. As far as I know.
I've also been
Yeah.
hyper literal, and I don't get like sarcasm a lot of the time. I don't get wordplay a lot of the time.
I don't
It's
get
one
a lot of
those-
jokes.
Yeah. Okay. The absolute worst is when you work as a customer service person, like, for example, a cashier, and some guy comes up, it's usually an older man, and he says something that sounds like a complaint or a request, and then you're like, oh, okay, I will fix this for you. And then he's like, what? No, I was joking. And you're like, what? I've been standing here for 3 hours, my brain is fried, and you said that entirely deadpan. How was I supposed to know?
I've
And then he just
definitely
acts like
had-
you're dumb.
I've definitely had this exact situation.
See, the greatest part about the customer service that I have done is that it's with parents. So, like, you've got to be careful on what kind of jokes you make about a kid. But at the same time, like, we can just, like, kind of joke about, like, the shitty kids that you have to deal with. Because the parents, like, especially when the parents admit that their kid is shitty.
Oh no.
But my rule of thumb for, like, customer service is to be, like, as fucking nice as possible. The other week I was out in Alice Springs, and we'd flown through Easter, which meant that it was the busiest time of year, and, like, bags... they had to send a whole plane's worth of bags between two cities because they had lost so many bags on that route.
Goodness.
They just like, yep, we're going to have to send a plane with all the bags because there is not enough planes flying
Oh,
that
dear.
will send those bags. And we, so they'd left my bag in one city and I was in Alice Springs. And I didn't realize for a very long time that my bag was lost. I just thought that because it's a country town, the bags were just not all out and they were being really slow about it. And then after about an hour of waiting, I realized. I was like, okay, awesome. I headed over towards the customer service desk after quickly checking that I shouldn't be checking somewhere else for my bag. And these people were giving this poor customer service person who works at the airport, does not fly, just does customer service, an earful for the bags being lost.
Yeah, and
Oh
that's
my
not even
goodness,
their
I
fault.
hate that.
Yeah. And so I was the last person to come up and I said, hey, it seems like I'm in the same situation. I can give you my details and we can go from here. She turned around and goes, yep, you're not going anywhere? I'm like, no. Awesome. Well, the bags will be here tomorrow on the same flight. I'm like, awesome. Great. And so I had to give her the details and the description of the bag and things like that so they could send it off so they can make sure they've got the right one. Mm-hmm. But then I like at every point was like, I could make a joke about it, but she has just been bullied by customers. And I'm also, because I was flying staff travel, also theoretically a staff member. So let's just, try to make things as straight and even as possible, and as amicable and kind, because it's like, there is no fucking way that if I was on the other side of the desk, I would appreciate, joking around. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard because there are people who have no idea what customer service is like.
Yeah. I have never understood, like, yelling at someone who has nothing to do with the thing you have an issue with. Like, I work retail, and so when the company does something that a customer doesn't like, and then they come to, like, chew out the employees, it's like, what do you think you're doing? What are you accomplishing this way? I just wanted to say, you just, like, mentioned, like, the whole, like, customer service, like, you gotta put something on to do that. I haven't done my customer service voice since I worked in the movie theater, and I got, like, very dysphoric about it, like, very often, because I don't know why, but, like, I just get very high-pitched when I put on my customer service voice. I'm like, I have to, like, sound like I care, like, oh, hello, can I help you? Like,
it's making yourself seem less threatening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're all like, I'm just a little guy, and my voice is all high and very calming and soothing, and I'm gonna help figure this out.
And, like,
sort of.
I hate it, and it made me feel, like, so much dysphoria, like, all the time. Like, I hate this, can't do it. And now I don't talk to customers, like, basically ever.
We have a friend named Matthew, and I love the quality of his voice. It's almost deadpan, but it's not. It's very low. He keeps an even tone. He just kind of talks in this lower register, and he stays there. And, like,
yeah, at first I thought he was kind of, like, deadpan, unemotional, but he's not. Like,
it's very interesting to see him interact with customers because he does a very good job, and I'm like, you mean I don't have to talk in a higher voice?
Yeah, you mean that I don't have to put all of my effort possible into seeming like the most approachable person on the planet.
And I can still seem approachable.
And the fact that the approachable voice is like the super high feminine voice, and it's like, why?
Yep.
Yeah,
gross.
That certainly has some societal implications.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It is very it's hard as well because you're like task switching as well. You go from one context to another. It's like, wait, how am I supposed to interact in this situation?
Sam, I know you can relate to this high-pitched feminine customer service voice so well.
I do the opposite. So because the customers I deal with are often, and it's not their fault. They're in a position where it has to happen, but they're high. Emotions are running very high for the customers I deal with. They're always in a bad situation. They're always desperate a little bit, and I like lower my voice kind of as more of like a security thing. Like
like that makes total sense to me. That it's like we're going to go to this lower register that is soothing and serious, and will help you through this.
And also means that I'm not going to take any bullshit. The amount of like, especially when I was mainly doing customer service. I don't mainly do customer service anymore, but for about 6 months I was just doing customer service, and a lot of that was, dealing with people who had unrealistic expectations, and for me to sit down and go, your expectations are unrealistic, here is what is realistic, here's what I can do, goodbye. Like, and these people who wanted to push the point, and it's like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't, write about the Nuremberg Code in your letter to your employer, because that will immediately get you fired. And, you know, it's trying to, you know, communicate to these people who are in a bad situation that they can't do anything, or to sit tight and wait until, you know, we've sorted something out for them, is so hard. And it's sometimes it's heart-wrenching. Other times I'm like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, stop doing this. And at one point we have this Irish guy in our office who, when he was doing customer service phone calls, we'd always give him like the really, really bad ones, because he would end up almost yelling at them through the phone because they just wouldn't listen. And it was like the funniest thing to listen to, watching someone with completely unrealistic expectations, you know, go try to convince, you know, this guy who was not going to take bullshit to, you know,
I love people like
bend the
that.
rules. Yeah. And I'm like, you're not going to get anything out of him. He's not going to let you. But yeah.
Yeah, I am a billowing sheet instead of a doorway. like I bend at like the least bit of provocation. I'm like, oh, okay. Like
That's me normally
People
too,
can
but as soon as
convince
I
me
get
of
behind a
anything.
phone, I'm like, I'm not taking any bullshit
Phones
here.
are a little bit easier because most of my job now is phone calls.
Yeah.
And I have not very reliable coworkers, and so I'm the one who gets calls when they don't show up to things, and people are like, "Where is this person?" And I'll be like, "Man, I don't know." I'm much more professional than that, but that's how I feel emotionally.
I can't
Yeah.
answer
And
phones
it's
at
like-
work. It stresses me out too much.
God, I hate phone calls. It's
yeah.
still the worst.
So phone calls are something that I think is a common like
this a-
anxiety trigger.
Is this a
all the
neurodivergent thing or
time.
just anxiety specifically?
Both.
I think that the anxiety comes from the neurodivergence. Okay, so social situations. If I know what is going to happen, then I have a script set up in my brain and I am comfortable
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
can do it.
Same.
So I could not answer the phones at work at first. Now I'm comfortable doing it. Like, it's almost totally fine. The only issue is that I have a little bit of audio processing problems. And
Yeah.
so somebody over the phone can be really hard for me to understand. If they have an accent, forget about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I will have to pass that off, like, to somebody
Yeah.
else.
That's-
It's not going to happen.
That's like my biggest fear is like I can't hear you very well. I can't process it, and if you have an accent, I just not happening
Yeah.
at all whatsoever. I just can't with phone calls. And so I haven't even I have not learned how to use the phones at work. I've been delivering pizzas for 2 years now, and my manager knows. He's like, "Yes, I understand that you have anxiety about this. It's fine. It's okay." Yeah. So
That's nice.
I need to learn how to use the computer at the front before I can learn how to use the phone, is the problem. And I'm still not great with the computers up there, and it stresses me out. So
I definitely don't think it's a neurodivergency thing, because, not to like discredit neurodivergency, but there have been situations where I've turned up to even like parties and stuff, and I've gone, the way I played it out in my head is totally different to what's going on right now. And like, you sit there anxiously for an hour and a half. Or like, you turn up and your friends haven't turned up yet, and you're the first day of your friendship group to arrive.
So a lot of the reason that people, when they see lists of symptoms and stuff, they'll go like, I don't think that sounds right because I definitely don't have this and I do that. But the thing that makes it a divergence, the thing that makes it for a lot of people a disorder, is that it's that same thing that everyone has, just turned up to 11.
Yeah.
So like I do customer service on the floor in our store. And so my boss tells me I'm so good at it, and I'm like, oh, you're so sweet. Because I am very friendly, I'm very approachable. I say, hi, how are you doing? Can I help you find anything? Because I'm prepped to say those exact words, or one of like 3 or 4 other scripts that I have. If they say something to me that I don't expect, that I'm not prepared immediately to handle, I'll start stuttering. Like,
Yeah.
like if I'm off script or if I like mess up at all, like it's all gonna fall apart. Like, not completely, like I'm functioning okay as an employee. It's just something that's very clearly noticeable to me, and I don't think that's an issue that most people really have. That like
No, you're 100%
maintaining
right there.
more normal conversation.
Yeah. Or even like knowing where to adapt or where to change. Like, don't get me wrong, it's something that I think most people have to learn rather than do. But like, there is a point where, I feel like I'm like this person who goes, oh, I've got, friends who are not straight. I've got friends who are not
Sam,
neurotypical.
you're cancelled.
But I have a friend
it's
of
because you know a lot of people. You're just like a cool guy.
Wow. But like, so one of my closest friends in high school was quite on the spectrum, has very, high noise sensitivity, and a lot of the pickups, she was very good at picking up on social cues, like really, really, really good. But it got to a point in year 12 where, our final year of high school, where I was picking up on social cues, she wasn't. It took me really long to learn what social cues were and how to use them in everyday life and things like that. But then as soon as I learnt how to use them, I picked up on them a lot faster and a lot more consistently. And then turned around and was like, oh, you're not picking up on these social cues. Actually, that means something else.
Yep.
Right, because a lot of the times someone who does have a disability will be overcompensating. Because they know that they have this difficulty, what they're doing is that they are working so hard to overcome that so that they can appear normal in a social situation.
Yeah. I think regarding like social situations and learning like social normities and what society expects of you, or just like tasks and how to do them and how to maybe, we were talking about it, be better at articulating your words or something. I think everybody can learn anything, but I think for certain people there is a much steeper learning curve. They have to work exponentially harder. And maybe it doesn't even stick for them. Like, they work hard for it, and if they get better, but not nearly as good as somebody who doesn't struggle with those things.
Right.
Could
like,
get.
So we were talking about this because we're podcasters. I'm about to join another podcast, and I have issues with word retrieval. Like, to the point where I think I should talk to somebody about having a stutter. Like, I have a lot of difficulty, and I think a lot of it has to do with wanting to be clear when I'm speaking, not wanting to be misinterpreted, misunderstood. Like, I want people to know what I'm trying to say, because it doesn't work out like that for me a lot of the time. But and so that's definitely something I could practice. Like, I could practice word retrieval. But like, it's something that I have noticed my entire life, and I don't think that it's something that I can get rid of.
Right. This is just making me very more excited for our pod, because I'm so bad with that too. Like, this is something I always have trouble with.
What a great idea for us to make a podcast together.
Like, I'm gonna be like, you know that word, and you're gonna be like, no, I don't. I have no idea.
I think Raye and I do a pretty good job of, where if they're talking, and then you fade off, and then I'll just kind of pick up and I'll be like, okay, and I'll either try to prompt you or I'll just move on until you remember.
Which I do appreciate it, because it keeps it moving, but also sometimes I'm like, no, that's not it. Give me a second. I gotta.
You just gotta let me know which one it is.
Right. I don't know. Maybe we need a signal or something.
It's almost like an old phone, like, trying to load up.
Yeah.
Just like, wait a second. Wait, it'll work.
It's buffering.
It just takes a
It's
little
buffering
longer.
in my head. I can't
I'm
get
good
there.
at being articulate for like short spurts of time. And I think that has to do with the masking. And I'm like, okay, we are putting on our people face. We're a human being now. And you are like, let's do this. And then you are doing it, and you are doing it, and you're like, wait, this conversation is still happening? Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm like tired now because I've been putting forth all this effort to mask, to try to articulate myself.
Yep.
Even recording a podcast, especially one that is so conversation focused like this, it requires a lot of social energy and awareness. And there are points where my brain just completely shuts down and I completely blank on what was just said.
Yeah.
And, you know, as a journalist, I've learnt techniques on how to recover that kind of stuff. But, it's exhausting. You know, I get to the end of a day and I've done 3 interviews in a row and, you know, there's 7,000 other things that's going on around me. I go, whoa, I'm exhausted. You know, I need to go straight to bed. I don't have time to, you know, be a functioning member of society.
The way it works for me is that during, like, this recording, I'm having, like, a delightful time. You guys are so nice. We will stop at some point.
Yeah.
And I will be like, okay, that went all right. About an hour afterwards, I will be like, why the fuck did I talk so much? Why did I tell them all those things about myself? We need to never speak again.
It's interesting because for me, it's like immediate. I'll stop talking. I'll leave the room. I'm the DM for our D&D group, and we get in the car and I'm driving, and then I am hit with anxiety, and I'm like, I was talking so much, and then I'm like, you're literally the DM. You're supposed to talk a lot.
See,
And so after this, I'll have immediate anxiety, and then I'll like level out and be like, okay, it was fine. And then Raye gets anxiety, and I'm like, what? You're freaking about that now? That was an hour ago.
I'm not just like, I talked so much. I'm just like, wait, I got this one little detail wrong. Somebody's gonna notice that, and they're gonna call me out on it. And then like, I'm canceled. I suck. I'm the worst person ever because I got one thing wrong. Like, that's the problem.
I definitely feel that one, Charlie, where I, you know, think of it like something that I said or, you know, something I did, and I like hyper focus on that for like a good hour or two, and then, you know, sporadically over the next 24 hours my brain will it's like that scene in Inside Out where they're like, yeah, sometimes we just like setting them up for fun. It's like,
yes, but it's like
thing that happened in 3rd grade.
Yeah, it's that, but it's like you're going to bed or you're like showering, and then like every single embarrassing moment you've ever had plays over and over and over and over, and it's like, no, I need to do something right now.
That is a form of intrusive thought.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
It's you know, you're all like, when you're cutting up vegetables and your brain is like, hey, cut your hand off, cut your fingers, cut it, cut. And you're like, no? What was that? Stop that. It's the same thing. It's
I catch the train a lot.
Yeah.
I catch, and the intrusive thought every time I catch the train is like, but what if you stepped out onto the tracks?
God.
I get it when I'm driving.
I'm like, just drive out into the traffic. Just do it.
Yeah, it's like, and I think that it's because you're anxious about that thing happening, and so
just get it over with.
No, you become hyper aware of the possibility and how easy it would be for it to happen.
Oh,
because
100%.
For me, it's always like, oh, if I turned the steering wheel right now, I could do terrible, terrible things.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, I'm thinking about it.
It's like, I'm thinking about it, that means it's gonna happen. No.
All that's between you and a head-on collision is, you know, a social contract and a flimsy white or yellow line in the middle of the road.
100%. Oh my god, that shit's so
Don't
scary.
make me think about that.
I didn't learn to drive until so late in my life.
I drive for work. Don't make me think about this.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my
but
god.
yeah, it is so fascinating, and it gets exhausting, especially when you are. And I don't mean to use hyperfocus in this way, but it is a hyperfocus where you just can't stop thinking these. Last night I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was midnight. I don't know why I was doing it. Anyway, quarantine has wrecked my circadian rhythm, but I I turned around and was like watching it, and you know, there's a lot of water and people falling in water and things like that, and I could not stop thinking of this one moment from my holiday in January where my little cousin almost drowned in a creek. And I was in a canoe, so me and James, my brother, were on either end of the canoe, and my brother and our cousin were in the middle, and they're both around the same age, similar build, whatever. The boat capsized because we were just doing stupid stuff, and my little cousin puts his arms up. My brother, who is much more athletically and situational awareness-y minded, grabs onto the boat, and James grabs onto Oliver, and I grab the little cousin. And the water was too deep for me to stand up in. So for like 2 minutes, I'm like trying to get to shore. I can't breathe. Like I'm not the greatest swimmer. I've learnt swimming because that's in Australia. If you don't learn swimming, you become a liability rather than you know, especially when a lot of the stuff is water stuff. So I can swim. And I have done life-saving courses at school as well, so I knew exactly what I should be doing. And, you know, it all kind of kicked in. I was glad I'd done that training, and a fight or flight response kind of kicked in. It took a second, but it got there. But I couldn't sleep that night because all that was replaying in my head was that. And, you know, every now and then it comes up again. You know, I was watching that movie last night, and it came back up. I'm like, I can't stop thinking about this terrible situation where, you know, I and my cousin almost drowned in a river, and, you know, who knows what would have happened. You know, he could. I felt really bad because he could have died.
And what that is a trauma that, like...
Oh, yeah, it's definitely traumatic. Like,
yeah. And the reason that your brain... I'm also a psychology minor, so... so your brain...
Here we go.
Your brain is trying to defend you. It says, hey, here's some patterns. We are receiving this input. This is what happened one time. Like, not every time that we've encountered water has this happened, but one time it did. So, like, be careful. Think about that. Think about how that could happen. Because it could. It could, remember?
Oh, yeah. And it's like... You know, like the beach is totally different for me. You know, that happened in a creek, in rural Australia. The beach, you know, for me is a completely different thing.
It's a different atmosphere.
Yeah, and so, you know, my brain is, you know, they're completely not connected, but for all of a sudden when I was seeing ships and people falling off ships and,
that
ships
makes
and
perfect
cliffs
sense.
and stuff, I was like, oh, yep. That's back. And it was only like 5 minutes, but like, still, you know, I was like, wow, I have not felt that one in a while.
Yeah, it's high. It's high adrenaline, and your brain has got to remember that moment of adrenaline.
And you were sick. You weren't sleeping. Like, and so that also makes sense that, like, when you're going through something where you're not your best, you're like, okay, let's bring that back up, you know, just to spice things up a little bit.
You know, last night of quarantine sleep, let's just, like, you know, bring back the trauma, the recent trauma. Sounds like a great idea, brain.
I smushed my finger in a printing press a while back in college, and I had to get stitches and all sorts of things. And just, like, an entire year after that, every now and then I would get, like, these jolts of intense anxiety where I would just, like, have to freeze and kind of curl up in on myself because I would just remember the instant and stuff. And also, one of the doctors was like, whoa, it smushed your finger like a little grape. And so then my brain would be like a grape. And so that was really great imagery that she gave me. Oh no! She was like, "Oh, your little finger guts," and I was like, "Why are you saying these words to me?"
No. Well, since we're bringing up...
like,
sorry,
and obviously it was literally just my finger. It wasn't like a broken bone. It wasn't like a huge gash or anything. But that's still like something that is gonna get you.
Yeah. God.
What's yours, Charlie?
I was gonna say, since we're bringing up our traumas now,
Yeah.
so you know I drive for work. That's the thing I do. So
Which is incredibly dangerous.
yeah. My tire blew out like a couple months ago while I was on a delivery. And like when I mean like my tire blew out, like it was just all like terrible. Like all of it was just gone. Because I was just like, oh, there's like a weird noise going on in my car. Like, my car's made weird noises before. Like, I'm used to this. Okay, like, that's fine. I just keep driving. I keep driving. And then I hear, like, the metal, my car was, I was driving on the, like, this is the word retrieval thing. The wheel thing. You know what I mean? Oh my God.
The rim?
Yes, I was driving on the rim. And that's when I was like, oh shit. So yeah, I had to pull over. And ever since that, I just like keep having anxiety, especially when I'm on the highway. I wasn't even on the highway when this happened, but like I keep having anxiety when I'm on the highway because I'm like, what if that happens again? And I'm just like here and there's a ton of cars going really fucking fast. And then I just die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Car accidents are literally the scariest, worst things.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I was in a car accident with my sister when I was a freshman in high school, and then the parents like kept having her drive me places, and I was just like, why are you guys doing this to me?
No.
Stop bullying me. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And not to say, like, she just, like, overturned on something, and then, you know, whatever, the car went too far, and then we got hit. But, like, and she was a much better driver, but still, I was just like, I don't want to be in a car with this person.
Yeah.
Even though she was fine. It was...
Yeah, it happened once, so it could happen again.
Yep.
It could. Brain sees patterns. It's trying to protect you. It's not doing a very good job, but...
It's doing its best.
Yeah.
It definitely... And it's the other thing, it's just so hard sometimes to differentiate between different aspects of that, we like it's just I don't know.
This thought is getting away from you, isn't it, Sam?
it's early.
Yeah, it's not that early anymore. But it's so hard to sit there and go, I am a normal functioning human being when you've got your brain is like actively trying to fuck with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to be playing chicken with my brain. I'd like my brain to work with me. And it's very frustrating. And, you know, you guys get it way more than anyone else would because you're all neurodivergent to some aspect in degree and diagnosis or whatever. And then on top of that, you know, the extra complexity of your lives of being queer as well, and out, not out, and a whole bunch of other bits and pieces. It just makes everything really complex and really hard to follow.
There are a lot of things that, because I think I have kind of a, oh goodness, what was it? It's a visualization that I learned in a psych class that I don't remember the name of, like the guy who came up with it, but it's a seesaw, and basically human beings have a certain capacity for emotion, and they typically will have like so like generally average, it doesn't matter like how poor you are or how rich you are or whatever, you're going to have the same amount of like highs and lows as everyone else. Unless there's something disordered going on, and then you have higher highs and higher lows, or you might have only lows and no highs, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I would say that someone who does have challenges with society is going to have more noticeable difficulties, but then I wouldn't want to invalidate someone who doesn't have those same challenges and say, well, like, you'll never understand, like, what it's like to be me. Because, like, likely you have gone through things that have affected you to the same amount as, like, whatever shit I go through affects me. I don't even know where this came from. I didn't even want to talk about that. But, like...
It is. Everyone's experience is really, really different, and it's
everyone's experience is different.
hard
but
for people to relate.
We're all going through. Like, I have so much connection to humanity. Like, we are all just little guys. We are all going through it, man. It's hard to be alive, but also it's cool to be alive. I'm glad we're all here.
But it is. It's not easy, and nothing is easy. And
Does anybody have a time frame? Because I have sort of a rant.
no, go ahead.
If you want to go to
Charlie,
rant,
you got time?
I'm happy to hear it.
Group therapy has started.
Okay.
It started like an hour and a half ago, but
Yeah, literally. That's been this whole episode.
Time to trauma dump.
Okay, so the reason that I wanted to do an episode like this specifically was to talk about my experience and how I feel that affects other people, how I feel like other people in my situation probably have a situation pretty similar to me, and how the society affects all of that, and basically about my difficulties becoming an adult specifically. This is the adulting podcast. That's what we're doing.
Let's go.
Okay. So, now that I've introduced it, I don't know where to start. Give me a second. When I was going to college, I felt okay about doing that and just that. I was like, okay, I went to class. That was something for the day. I did something. That's productive. I'm done. I did a lot of laying in bed in those days.
oh,
A lot of laying in bed.
Yeah.
Which is what I do when I'm really burnt out and not doing very well. It still happens sometimes. I'll be on my phone. I don't sleep, but I don't have the energy to do anything else. And my little sister's in school right now, and I've realized that she does a lot more shit than I ever did. She's doing jobs, she's doing internships, she's going to parties, she's got tons of friends, she's doing a lot, and I'm like, I don't know how you're making that happen. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how do you have the energy for all of these things? Like, I have always been low spoon. Like, it's just, I don't have the capacity for a lot of the things that I want to be able to do, which is less than most people do anyways. I currently work retail part-time. I don't have the capacity to have a full-time job. I think technically I could work 40-hour weeks. I don't know that I would survive it. I was working 40-hour weeks for a summer in school. I have never been more suicidal. Like,
Yeah.
high school was a nightmare. When I got to college, the fact that you only have to go to class for like 2-3 hours a day and then you get to go home was such a fucking relief. I didn't do a lot of homework though. My grades were barely passable. Senior year, it sort of fell apart. I didn't do a single assignment in a philosophy class, which is why I changed my minor from philosophy to psychology, because I technically had the classes to make that. But he still gave me a pity D. It was so nice of him. That teacher loved me. he told me once, like, it was such a relief to have you in class because I could always tell that you did the reading, and I made a face, and he was like, if you didn't, don't tell me. And I was like, okay, I will not then.
Oh.
So retail, huh? It's not a great situation, huh? Retail companies, my store got bought out by new management. Our company did.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name the company,
It's
but
a private company now instead of a public company,
yeah.
which is
Anyways, the people who own it are shitheads. They are doing such a bad fucking job. Our managers are dying. One of my managers told me recently that she went through the schedule and she scheduled people to all of the things that she is required to schedule them to. Like, you have to have someone for this, you have to have someone for this. And she was like, okay, I'll go through, I'll put everything in, I will have it to their standards. Once she was done, she was about 10 hours over the hours that they allot to us. It's literally impossible. It can't be done. Our managers are working overtime constantly. No one else can get hours. They cut them and they cut them and they cut them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Retail workers are expected, especially cashiers, you're standing for no fucking reason.
That's why I love Aldi. At least here in Australia, all the Aldi cashiers sit on chairs.
That's Aldi's standards everywhere. Aldi fucking rules. They sell produce so cheap. We used to have one where I lived with my parents. I miss it so much.
Yeah.
If only we had an Aldi.
When I was a cashier at the movie theater, they took away our chairs a couple times. We weren't supposed to have chairs, but some people hid so much that fucking assholes I work with. That's a different rant for a different time. But just taking away the chairs of somebody who has to be there for 8 to 10 hours? No. Fucking no.
It's fucked up. And okay.
I used to work at the company that Rachel still works at.
Yeah, that's how I got my job.
We had chairs. I don't know how specific you want to get. I was a framer. We all know this. And as a framer, we had a chair on our side of the table and a chair on the other side of the table, where they put down their artwork and we get all the frames and everything. Our district manager, we had a bad employee once. I don't remember her name, but she just sat on her phone at the chair for her entire shift. And I'm like, at least do it at the other computer where you're not in front of the camera.
Oh no.
Like I do. God.
See, God, I would be on my phone whenever there wasn't anybody around.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I was oh, I can see somebody coming through the windows, and then I would stand up and I would put on my whole thing.
Give them your
and
attention.
then the person on the other side at the other cashier's spot would be hiding underneath so that I would get all of the fucking customers and I would be
oh my goodness,
dealing with all of the bullshit. It's I fucking hated the people at the movie theater.
Anyways, climax of the story is our district manager man took, he saw that, he was really angry. I didn't like him. He took the chair and threw one into the compactor. The garbage compactor, and was you can't do this. And I wasn't there. I just heard about it secondhand, and I was
what the fuck?
No.
What the heck, dude?
Oh
my God.
That's company property. They won't pay to replace that shit.
No.
They won't pay to replace the fucking staplers. What?
Anyways, that was cool.
Anyways, okay. So, the culmination of my points in things, we're both college graduates. We were both working retail. You were working full-time. I'm working part-time because that's the capacity that I have. The thing is that working retail is fucking hard and stressful.
Yeah.
The other thing is I do not have the capacity to work full-time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, And I know that there are a lot of other disabled people who are elderly, people who are physically disabled, people who are mentally disabled, who also work part-time retail because that's the shit they can get, and you get treated like shit. And it's like, we are trying to, like, it blows my mind that, like, there's the pay is low, you do not get treated like a human being. Working customer service, you don't get respect. Like, and the fact that the people who are doing that work, that necessary work, I, as a cashier, was what is the language that they use? An essential employee.
Essential worker. Yeah,
I was an essential
God.
worker. I worked at a hardware store in a state that actually closed down, unlike the state where we live now, which fucking sucks. Yeah, but the state closed down. We were one of the only stores open. We had lines out the store. We had lines through to the back of the store. I was doing an insane amount of work. High stress work every day. Yeah. And because people need me to be there doing that shit. And no one wants to pay me. And no one wants to respect me for the shit that I'm doing. And people are going to treat me as subhuman when I am a neurodivergent person who is already dealing with that shit.
Yeah.
And there are other disabled or elderly people who are working with me who are also, like, just trying to make a paycheck because this is the only thing they can do. You don't have a choice because this is what is available to you. This is what you have the capacity for. And it just pisses me off so bad. Like, how did we design a society where this is my only option?
God.
Why is okay, like, people, whenever I try to bring up the 40-hour work week with people who I know, with, like, my family, they're like, what? Why would you have a problem with that? I don't understand. Like, they straight up they don't have the capacity to understand that that's not something I'm able to do.
Yeah.
And so, like, seeing things online talking about, like, literally this 8-hour work week is ridiculous. It's, like, so validating for me, like, that it's not just me, that there's...
Yeah, dude, when I started working full-time, I did in fact start complaining about that. I'm just like, God, this is so much. This is so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
And then, like...
It's so much.
And then... like, literally my family members were like, yeah, but, like, you're working, like, you're not really working a real job, and, like,
God, holy crap.
and, like, they're like, 40 hours is, like, normal, like, that's what everybody works, and I'm just like, goodness.
Okay, for one thing, when we set up a 40-hour work week, it was expected that you would have a partner at home who was doing the domestic chores. Like,
where's my partner?
There's like 7,000 errands I want to run during the week.
Excuse me, I think society owes me a partner to do that. If I'm expected to work.
Mood. But now you can't afford to have a domestic partner at home because wages have not increased enough
to keep up with the rest of
No,
inflation.
you're expected to have a partner who also works a 40-hour work week so you never see each other.
Yep.
And it's not sustainable. It's a horrible way to run a society. It's shit. And it's especially shit for people like us who are trying to, like, get by.
I think the point of this episode is fuck society and fucking just, like, respect workers. Like, respect customer service people.
100%.
Please, please, please.
Please, for the love of God, they are doing their best every day.
Raye,
It's so hard, guys.
I wanted to interrupt you early on in that, but, like, I wanted you to just explain.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
think I'm done.
to just explain spoons to, like, the listeners for anybody who doesn't know.
Because
you just, like,
about that.
just said spoons at least once, and I was like, just explain it for people in case they don't know.
Yeah. So spoons, I believe, started with autistic people. I believe it was an autistic woman who first used it as an analogy, but it's generally recognized language in most neurodivergent spaces, I believe. So spoons is just a visualization of how many things you can do. If you're familiar with D&D 5th edition, it's actually slightly more accurate to think about it as like spell slots.
Oh my
if
god.
That makes any sense to you?
You know, I haven't actually used spells at all, but I do understand what you mean by that.
Yeah. So, if you are a person who has a disability or a neurodivergence or both, you can visualize the things that you can do in a day as a pile of spoons or spoons lined up in front of you. And getting up to take a shower might use a spoon. Remembering to brush your teeth might use a spoon. And the more difficult that things are for you, the more spoons you're going to end up using. Or if you wake up one day with low sleep, or it's just bad for whatever reason, your hormones are off, you might have less spoons that day than you normally do. And so as someone with a neurodivergence or a disability, you are going to have less capacity for tasks than a typically able-bodied or neurotypical person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really great way of like being able to visualize and explain to people capacity. Like, you know, I don't have as many spoons available to me because I didn't sleep well last night, for example.
Yeah. It's totally good language.
And it's really, really functional. And I highly suggest anyone who hasn't used that language to check it out. I think it's a really great way of kind of doing it.
So the reason that I like talking about it as spell slots is like, okay, I took a long rest and now I have this many spell slots available. But the spell slots have different levels. So you've got level 1 spell slots, level 2 spell slots. So you can so the interesting thing is that you're like, okay, so these are my tasks that don't take as much energy. That's a level 1 spell slot. I used that to take a shower and to remember to do my reading for the day. But now my level 1 spell slots are gone. So if I have another low energy task, I might have to spend one of my level 2 spell slots to do it.
Oh, that makes
and then
so
I
much
won't have the
sense.
capacity to do a more difficult task later. Yeah. Right?
I love that. Raye, I love that so much. You're such a fucking nerd.
Sorry. I think I stole that from a Tumblr post. So like, this is not my brain, but also I like it. So
You're valid.
Yeah. But it is. It's really interesting, and, you know, coming back to the theme of the episode being a neurodivergent queer people, it just makes it harder for those, you know, to have as many slots, to, you know, be able to do as many high functioning things. And as you said, the 40-hour work week just doesn't work.
yeah. Not the way we're doing it.
No.
Well, no, and it's the same thing for me. I really hate, and there's a reason why I only work as a casual in my job. I could go full time, but personal commitments as well as my capacity as a human being means that I don't think I'll ever be able to work in that job full time. I need to take 1 or 2 days off a week to be able to run the errands I need to run. As well as I'm at uni still, so I'm still, you know, studying, and I host a radio show outside of it all, and it's just like...
And you're making a podcast, like...
Yeah.
Okay,
Look, yeah.
1, you do a lot of things. I'm very impressed. 2, people like to make things, and sometimes making things isn't profitable.
Yeah.
And we need time to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're not contributing to society by making a podcast. You are. You're just not making money doing it, and so apparently it's not worth anything.
Yeah, that's...
Well, this is-
Okay, I have...
Hustle culture, as they call it.
I have a rant for that. Because, like, 90% of the conversations I have with family members at this point lead to like, hey, so when are you gonna like earn money so you can like get your own insurance and like get a real job and all of that shit? And I'm just like, I'm doing things that make me happy. That's the point right now, is I'm doing things that make me happy. I don't have the capacity right now to like try to get a quote unquote real job, because when I hate applying for jobs, and also just like, I like the commitments that I have, and I like having the time and like mental energy to like do this stuff. And
100%.
Slow times at work. What do? I do like podcasting shit. I schedule guests. Well, that's what I do.
Yeah. Which is great, because it's exactly the time that I'm awake as well. But
exactly.
But it is so hard to be doing more than one thing at once, and to balance it all together. And I'm not saying that, you know, woe is me, everyone should feel sorry for me. But, you know, I've made the conscious decision to do what I'm doing, and as much as I have issues with it, and my parents have issues with it, look, we'll, but like, I've chosen and I've decided that that's where my capacity is. However, on top of that, regardless of what I'm do on the side, I don't think I would ever be able to work at this particular job, you know, 5 days a week. In fact, I have a co-worker of mine at the moment who used to be a school principal, and she believes very much in the 4-day work week, where you know, a portion of people work 4 days, another portion work another 4 days, so that they kind of overlap evenly, and you get, you know, people working theoretically all 5 days. I think you work extra hours or whatever, I don't know. But like, at the same time, you have that day off to sort everything else out and follow other things.
It's important to have emotional releases, to have a creative outlet, to be able to relax. And a lot of the time, 40-hour weeks don't allow that.
Yeah. So the way I sort of think about it is like, a 40 work week makes sense to me, because that is 1 day to manage your household, 1 day for socialization, and 1 day for you. And you need days for you.
Yep.
Like,
Yesterday I had a mental health day, and what did I do? I edited podcasts. Like that was
that's
like
still more than I do sometimes.
I was like, I'm doing stuff for me, like, this is great. And then I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I feel like I'm gonna edit my podcast, because, like, I just want to listen to my friends talk for a little bit.
Aww.
Listen, that's what I do. That's why I re-listen to Barbie Movie Slap so much. I just like listening to y'all talk.
Aw.
But yeah, it's I find it so fascinating. To kind of wrap up, do we want to just kind of try to describe your experiences of being neurodivergent and queer in like a sentence or two? Although I do feel like Ted has something else that they want to say.
No? I'm
No?
just looking.
Okay.
I'm just
We
peeking
were
around the corner.
perceiving you, Ted.
Before we wrap up, I'm sorry, I got heated earlier, and now I have, like, more things to say.
Oh, no!
I do feel like I've been talking too much. But
That is totally fine.
You haven't been talking enough.
You guys are the guests. You're supposed to talk heaps.
So the other thing that I sort of wanted to talk about in regards to neurodivergency and being queer is that it's hard to hit the milestones that people expect of adulthood. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
If your relationship with attraction is weird, then it's hard to have romantic relationships, or you might not want romantic relationships. And what people expect is that you get married, normally in a straight capacity, normally to someone of a different gender. And so if you're not doing that, people don't perceive you as an adult, and you sort of don't perceive yourself as having hit that thing that you expected to do. And
Yeah.
You're raised with the 40-hour work week, 2.5 kids and a picket fence, and
I'm not doing any of that shit. I don't have the
You don't
capacity
wanna have a
to live on my
0.5
own
kid?
currently.
I would like the 0.5.
Okay, you can have the 0.5 child.
It's about how many kids I could handle. It's 0.5.
So, yeah, I'm not going to be able to live on my own, on my current income. I'm not in a relationship. I don't have a career as such. Like, the kind of career that people are going to expect me as a college graduate who comes from a middle-class family to have. Like, there's a lot of things that I expected to be able to do that I looked forward to as a kid that I am not hitting. And it's hard to feel like an adult at all.
Yeah.
There is definitely a disconnect of, and I think with this current generation, of not feeling like an adult because we aren't hitting what the boomers expected us to be able to do.
Yeah. Being queer and neurodivergent is definitely a part of it, but also it's almost like the infantilized generation. Like, everything is happening later. And it's because people are making their own choices, and a lot of times your own choice is going to be focusing on yourself before you get into relationships, before you have kids. But it also has to do with people not having the money, not having the social capacity to purchase a home or that manner of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, no, the mental energy that is required, even by, you know, a non-neurodivergent, perfectly successful, works 9 to 5 kind of person to buy a house at the moment.
Yeah.
Even, like, Australia is has some of the most expensive cities in the world at the moment. And my parents went through a lot of stress just to buy the house that I'm now renting off them. And it's terrifying. It was terrifying to watch them go through it. And they were trying to teach us on, you know, the process to buy a house. But at some stages, they're like, we've just got to do this because it's just too stressful. It needs to get out of our consciousness and our to-do list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still live in, like, my childhood bedroom. So, talk about not feeling like an adult.
Yeah.
So...
And in a different society, that wouldn't be strange at all. But
in some parts of the world, it's, like, not strange to, like, still live with your parents. Like...
Because they have intergenerational households. That's what you've got going on right now.
Yeah, like, some places that's not weird. But, like, to my family, it's just, like, you're still here. My mom's like, I want you to, like... move out and, like, have new experiences. I also don't want you because you're my baby. And I'm like, I don't really care. Like, I'd love to move into a place with my friends, but all of my friends are, like, in different places at the moment. And we're just, like, not talking about that because that would be stress.
Yeah. Awesome. Well... coming back to my question, do we want to try to, like, sum up a descriptor phrase?
You get one word
of your experience. I didn't want to say one word. I also didn't want to limit to one sentence because it is so fucking complex. But I don't know. Does everyone want to kind of, like, try to sum up their experience in
stressful
a phrase or two?
Disconnect. What's your word?
Wow, we've gone to a word.
I can't.
That's your word.
I've never,
your word. No, that's it. That's it. Your phrase is I can't.
Can't. You know, I've never committed to a label in my life.
Yeah. Why is it stressful, Charlie? Expound.
I think I have expounded. It's just like... Goodness.
This podcast was all of the expounding.
We've done this. I can't. Not to take Ray's word, but...
It is.
It's just...
Look, yeah.
My summation is being a person is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Being a person who does not do what you are expected to do, who, like, doesn't fit into nice societal boxes is even harder. And being an adult is ridiculous and fake.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Ted, do you have anything?
Awesome. Well,
Ted, did you have something?
Ted,
Oh, just disconnect.
disconnect.
It's basically the same. The ways I identify is I have a disconnect with sexuality, with romanticism, with gender, with
Yeah.
being a person, and like
Yeah.
the things that are expected of you in society, and I don't feel like I'm a real person.
Yeah, like, what the
because I
fuck is
don't
being a
feel the ways
person?
that
Like,
society wants me to feel.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
all like, you're supposed to feel this way about guys, or even about people. You're supposed to want these physical and romantic connections, and I'm like,
Yeah. 100%.
you're valid. You're so valid.
oh, thank you.
I was about to say, no matter what you describe yourself as, what you feel, everyone is valid in their feelings. And if you're struggling, have a chat to someone, someone you trust, but speak to someone, because often a third party perspective is very eye-opening and helps you understand a lot more about yourself than you thought was what you knew.
I just want to say, just respect everyone. You are valid, unless you
please.
don't respect people. That's the only time you're not valid.
Yeah.
Then you're not valid.
Yeah.
What I kind of hope is that an episode like this, where we do get really personal, can be useful to people who might recognize themselves in it and who are like, I don't know why I'm having a hard time. And it's like, you are not alone, really.
Yeah.
You are.
One, it's very hard in general, and two, sometimes it's harder for some people than others. Like, making a phone call, getting a job, it's all really, really fucking hard. And so,
It
like,
is.
Yeah.
if you're having a rough time, like, you are valid, and you are allowed to look for help. Please do.
Yeah.
If you're having
Please
a hard
look for help
time,
if you need
I'm
it.
sending you a virtual hug right now through this podcast. So,
For those who are not on the call right now and are listening to the podcast, Charlie just attempted to hug.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
watched it
I like
happen.
tried to hug the screen, and I'm like,
Bad idea.
Charlie, you're a delight.
I tried.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Words are struggling to describe how much I value you all, and how important it is that you are a part of my life and everyone else around you's lives. You guys always make such a positive difference. Now, we can't end the podcast again without doing some plugs. So, where can people find you on the internet? We'll start with Charlie.
Oh, every time.
Yes.
Many
It's bullying
fucking
at this
places.
point.
Yeah, it is bullying. Sam, you're canceled again. I think I've canceled you like 3 times on this episode.
Yeah.
I need to remember like my outro basically. Okay. You can find me at greenpixie12 most places on the internet except for Twitter, where I'm at greenpixie123. I need to start remembering to plug my art Instagram, which is at greenpixiedraws. I also have that YouTube that I don't really use much, but it's at Charlie Mac. That's MACK. And I have 2 pods. I do the one with my mom about fandoms. That's Fandoms Gone Wrong. And then I do the one with Raye. Hey, Raye, welcome to the Movie Night Crew Network. Woo!
Welcome.
Why, thank you.
Oh, the Oldest Gods is
I'm
fun.
on the outside looking in.
Ted's jealous.
So,
We should also add Ted to the
So,
Discord server.
you want to be on
we-
the...
Everyone's like, who is this fool?
We probably should.
You can find Raye and I at Barbie Slaps on...
Which is not on the network.
It's not on the network. It's our own network.
They don't upload enough.
On the Raye and Ted network.
I know.
But at Barbie Slaps on Tumblr, Podbean, Twitter.
Yeah, our Twitter is at Barbie Slaps. That's where our social media is most active. The podcast is called Barbie Movie Slaps. You can find it wherever you look for your podcasts, as the people do say.
Or wherever you find your podcasts.
Yeah. My Twitter is at HeyHeyRaye. Raye is spelled Raye. I think I'm cute.
You are cute.
You're super cute, don't you know?
Yeah, that's pretty much our project at the moment. We hope to get into more stuff eventually, but it's as we've said, our spoons are low and it's hard to live.
And also,
I'll write a podcast and I'll reach out to all of my friends to be voice actors.
Yeah, we both enjoy writing, but also we can't do it very much.
I was gonna say also we're like doing a Diamond Castle 6-hour podcast because we're all crazy.
The scheduling on that has been a nightmare. It's gonna be so hard to make that happen again. Oh boy.
We only got 20 minutes into the
So
movie.
that'll probably be out at some point. If you like Barbie films, we're doing Diamond Castle. We're working on it. It's happening.
Scheduling is a nightmare. And is probably one of the most stressful jobs ever. And anyone who does it professionally needs a medal.
Are we still doing media plugs too?
Awesome. Yes, media plugs as well. So anything you've been watching, playing, listening to, reading.
Ooh, I will plug a podcast.
Charlie's like, where's my list?
I had to remember what the name of the podcast was. Listen, I've just been binging podcasts. Mostly PGO ones, but I'm instead gonna plug a different one. It's called Entering Storybrook. It's a Once Upon a Time podcast because my obsession will never end. If you know me, you know how much this fucking series means to me, and I'm like, damn, I finally found a good Once Upon a Time podcast. I'm gonna cry. So that's my life right now.
It's your turn. Do it.
My turn for what?
We're plugging media.
Oh,
you said you whispered something to me. You mouthed
Ted,
it.
are you
I figured
consuming
that you were
media?
ready.
Yeah, our whole household is re-listening to the Magnus Archives.
Oh my
10 out
goodness.
of 10. Would
Charlie is
recommend.
aware.
I am.
I've been ranting.
Also, I've been listening to Rabbits podcast, which is by the Public Radio Alliance. They do Minnow Beats Whale, a lot of fictional fun story things.
Their gimmick is that they're all done like they are documentary podcasts, so
about spooky things, or about this one's about ARG that's happening, so that's fun.
Right, you said Rabbits is the best one, right?
Rabbits is arguably the best one. The first season was my favorite. I'm listening to the second season. It's pretty recent. But yeah.
Good
If
stuff.
you like, I don't know. Good, yeah.
The Magnus Chronicles, right?
The Magnus Archives. It's a very popular horror podcast.
Awesome.
If we're doing podcasts, I could do one. I really love Wolf 359, which is a science fiction podcast story that I got into at around the same time that I got into the Magnus Archives, which is why they're kind of linked in my brain. But it's something that also kind of seems like it's a collection of stories that eventually the plot kind of emerges.
Joins.
I've definitely heard of that one.
And also, The other thing that like connects Magnus Archives and Wolf 359 in my brain is that I love the protagonists and they can never catch a break. Just these two men have such terrible things happen to them constantly. And I'm like, guys, are you good? They're not good.
That's the secret of
Wolf
protagonists.
359 is delightful. One of the main characters is an AI, which I love. Robot characters are so friggin' good.
Yeah.
So yeah, check that one out. It's so good.
Awesome. Well, I'm Sam. You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at sam.the.journalist and on Twitter at samobjournalist. Also, check me out on 4ZZZ Radio. I'm regularly on there. I've been working on a podcast, and by the time that this episode comes out, the podcast is well and truly finished, about the Australian election. But if you want to hear politicians been doing dumb shit, definitely head out there and listen to that one.
We Americans get enough of that.
There was a leaders debate the other night, and I was sick with COVID, so I wasn't in the podcast recording, but listening to it. And the host, so my boss asks, did anyone watch the debate? And someone turned around and said, and I have to quote this because it's too funny to not pull directly from it. Where is it? I watched MasterChef instead. And then the other guest goes, the lettuce made me depressed. Because they're talking about the cost of lettuce and they were eating lettuce at the same time.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh.
Pure chaos, and I fucking love it. But this week I'm gonna plug AJR. I've just booked tickets to go and see them here in Brisbane.
Exciting.
And I'm looking forward to going and seeing them. Good music, so good, and way too many good trending sounds on TikTok as well. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. And we're going to have to do this next year. I feel like it's now a tradition.
I think that this is going to be an annual thing, but hopefully next time we'll have Juice on.
Yes.
Yes. Juice sends their apologies, and I will bully them later in the year at probably them guesting on another
listening
episode.
to Content and Capable.
You can follow the podcast
Yeah.
socials
I
at
miss
Content,
them.
the letter N, Capable.
Of course, we
Instagram
definitely
and
have
Twitter.
enough content
Send an email
with
to
us.
Content and Capable.
For this
I
one.
always
at
miss them.
gmail.com.
I miss you guys too.
Please give us a
I
review
miss you right
on
now.
iTunes or
Aw.
Spotify to help others know
Aw.
that you enjoyed this podcast. The art was done
Anyway,
by
thank you
Internet
guys so much
friends,
for
the
coming
joy
on
of
the
it.
podcast.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
having
having us. Thanks for
Opia
letting us
spelled
talk a
O.
lot.
Thanks for bullying me.
Specifically me.
Feel free to message them about making art for your project. Our music was written, recorded, and edited by Isabel Strauss-Reeds. You can find Izzy at Kane_I. That's I is in the body part. On Instagram and Twitter. And on YouTube at KaneI with no spaces. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast. Content and Capable is proud to be a part of the Movie Night Crew Network, which features Fandoms Gone Wrong, where Charlie and Carrie discuss all things fandoms.
Hello, you awesome nerds out there. Yes, you. Have I got the podcast for you?
We've got pop culture, swearing, and all the immature jokes you could ask for.
We'll take you on a journey through TV shows, movies, books, and maybe a video game someday.
And we'll tell you how they all went wrong.
I'm Charlie,
And I'm Carrie.
and this is Fandom's Gone Wrong.
New episodes every other Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts.
Content and Capable is a podcast all about answering the question, how do you adult? Don't forget to rate and review, and I will see you next Monday for another episode.
That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
I will always bully you, Charlie.
I meant Sam, but thanks.
Oh.